What's up, guys? This is Mike here with Triple Crown and Pathway Baseball. Happy to have Joe Serfass with the Connecticut Capitals on with me today. Joe, thanks for jumping on the call, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Mike. I appreciate it.
So give me a little bit of background. I know you coach high school baseball as well as the Connecticut Capitals 18U team. Just give me a little bit of background on how you got started, man, and, kind of where your baseball journey's brought you to this point.
Yeah, well, baseball has been a huge part of my life ever since I was a little kid. I was big into playing multiple sports. My dad made me play a bunch of sports as a kid, and I kind of got drawn to baseball and basketball. Did that in high school. I had to make the decision after high school which path I was going to take. Chose baseball. Went to Eastern Connecticut State University, a small Division III school. Very fortunate to have a great experience there with my teammates and coaching staff. Had some success individually and as a team. Was then fortunate enough to sign a contract with the New York Mets as a free agent. Played 4.5 seasons in the Mets organization, reaching the AA level. And I always knew that I wanted to take everything that I learned as a player and what I learned from my coaches and give it back. And, once my career ended, I knew I wanted to get into teaching and coaching right away, which I did. Started off at the JV level for a couple of years and then was fortunate enough to get a varsity job at Windsor High School in Windsor, Connecticut. And the Connecticut Capitals started up back in 2008. And that was right when I ended my professional career. And I knew the owners pretty well. And I jumped on board with them as one of their coaches. And I'm still on board. Was it 14 years later? I started off coaching. I was the assistant coach at the 16U level for the first year, head coach at the 16U level the second year. And then after that, up until now, I've been coaching the 18 and under team, what I consider like a college prep team. So that's kind of my baseball journey in a quick nutshell.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So as far as I know, you talked about, you wanted to take what you learned playing professional baseball and be able to pass it on to younger players. What's one thing that sticks out to you that you really, to this day, try to put into your players that you learned at the professional level?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just making sure that, you play the game the right way at all times because you never know who's watching. Personally, I wasn't the most talented guy, but, I went about my business in a professional manner at all times. And I think those are the things that, sometimes go unnoticed or sometimes noticed by the right, scouts and the right college coaches. So I think that's the biggest thing that I try to instill in my guys is play the game the right way. And make sure you compete nonstop because this game can get you. It's a tough game. It's a game of failure. So you have to be able to move on to the next pitch, the next at bat, the next game, because mentally, again, it can get you if you stress on, one mistake or one error. So I would say if I had to pick one thing, that's the thing I stress the most is going about your business in a professional manner and playing the game the right way and playing it hard and playing with a passion, be coachable, be a great teammate. I tell my guys all the time, I think one of the things I can tell right away is if you are selfish or not. And if you are selfish, you won't play. So being selfless is really important as well.
Gotcha. No, I believe that, man. You might not always have the talent or might not be the 6'5" guy throwing 90, but if you play the game hard, that's what gets you noticed. And that's something I've always, realized with your team specifically down in Richmond in the summer. It's going about it in a professional way. I don't know how you get a bunch of 17, 18-year-old kids to be, carry themselves in such a professional manner. So props to you, man. That's awesome.
I think, the other thing too is obviously, a very popular coaching philosophy is to get the most out of your players. I think every player has that ceiling level. And we talk all the time about, the objective is to get to the top of that ceiling. And sometimes the top of your ceiling might not be as high as some others, but if those other guys aren't getting to their top of their ceiling, then that's when you can, surpass some of those guys. But, getting guys to play the right way, and I think other coaches will attest to it. It's about, routine, I'm huge on routine and daily habits. Those habits have to align with your goals. And you hear a lot of kids say how they want to play professional baseball or play college baseball, but they don't go about their day the right way. Those daily habits aren't aligning with that ultimate goal. And that's something that, we try to stress to our kids as well.
And that is pure gold, man. That is pure gold. I love it. So if you had to pick an age or a time, whenever you decided to get into coaching, I know you said it was basically you knew right out of minor league baseball or whenever you were done with your professional career. Was that ever a thought, growing up in high school or college that you wanted to teach and be a coach? Or when was that moment that you really decided, to become a high school baseball coach?
Yeah, growing up, my favorite class was always physical education class. I had some great PE teachers and mentors through grade school and, high school. So I knew that's what I wanted my job to be. Obviously, my first goal and my dream job was to, make it to the big league someday and be that professional baseball player. So I knew I wanted to live that dream first. In the back of the head, I knew, because of great mentors and great teachers and a passion for sport, my dad was a coach. He coached me since I was little all the way up until high school. He was my assistant coach. So I always kind of saw that as well. So I would say at a young age, I knew that the PE world was what I wanted to get into because I knew being a PE teacher, it would allow me to also coach, and being in the building and, being around the guys on a daily basis, I think makes a huge impact. But there's no secrets. I definitely wanted to live that dream of playing professional baseball. And, once getting there, then my number one priority was try to get to the big leagues. But in the back of the head, I knew if I didn't, okay, that's what I wanted to do, is teach and coach.
I got you. And you bring up something that I always love watching, at R&P Park or anytime I see you guys at the end of July. Now it's kind of the roles are not reversed, but I know your assistant coach on your Capitals team is your dad or has been your dad before. What's that dynamic like, having a father-son combination, but you being the HC and him being, your assistant? How's that work out?
Yeah, well, he's actually my assistant coach for high school baseball too. The last, 7 years. Prior to that, I actually had the opportunity to coach against him when he was coaching at Newington before he came over to Windsor. But it is definitely an interesting dynamic. Overall, obviously, I love having him there. Brings a great level of passion and knowledge for the game. He's definitely old school. So it kind of depends on what mood he's in that day. We'll definitely factor into the dynamic. Sometimes he's a pain in the butt. But he has the same passion as I do. And obviously I can say I probably got it from him. He's competitive. He's there for the kids. He wants to see the kids be successful. But as far as our relationship, we obviously have remained very close because we see each other often on the baseball field. But it's fun. I can say I'm blessed to be able to coach with my dad because I know there's not a lot of people that can say that in the coaching world. And to be the head coach and to say that he's my assistant, I guess, is a little cooler.
Yeah.
And knowing that I make the decisions and he has to go along with them.
Right. So I have to ask who throws a better batting practice, you or your dad?
I throw pretty good BP, but my dad is 67 and still chucking it. So I'd have to say my dad throws pretty good BP, and I was blessed to have a father that threw me BP throughout my childhood and all the way through, high school and college, which is definitely a huge help. So he loves doing it, and he's pretty darn good at it.
Nice, man. Nice. So give me a little bit of preview with the Connecticut Capitals. I know you guys are coming down to the Pathway Richmond event. Give me a little preview on what the team's looking like this summer.
So I think compared to previous years, I would say we're a little more on the younger side. Previous years were usually, I would say, split between rising seniors and guys that just finished their senior year, becoming rising freshmen in college with maybe a rising junior in the mix. This year, I would say we're a little more heavier on the rising senior side. So we're a little younger compared to previous years, but that's okay. I kind of like it. I think we have a handful of good arms I would say pitching's probably our strength. But we have some, some position guys who are have some upside and that bring really good energy to the baseball field. They play hard. So it'll be interesting. I think in the past we've always had some some big hitters in the lineup, in the middle of the lineup. This year, we still have a few that I think can fill that role. But I would, if I had to give an identity to our team in our lineup, I would say, we're hoping to be a little more of a scrappier type team that's going to have to kind of fight and claw on the offensive end. And again, we got some guys I think on the mound that can hopefully pound the strike zone and some depth to the mound, on the mound, I should say. So it'll be interesting. I'm really excited for this group. Character-wise, again, that's the most important in my opinion. Character and work ethic. It's a great group.
Awesome. So some of those rising seniors, are any of those guys committed anywhere yet, or where are they going to be off to after they finish their senior year?
Yep, we have a couple that are in the works of receiving offers. We have others, that will hopefully use this upcoming spring high school season and, of course, the summer season to get the ball rolling on possibly getting some offers, whether it's Division I, or guaranteed roster spots at the Division III level. But we definitely have some guys that I think should and probably will play at the college level between 1, 2, and 3. That is to be determined. But yeah, there's definitely some guys in the mix.
Okay. I gotcha. So I know I already asked you as far as, your favorite memory as far as, playing the game or some stories professionally as a coach. With it, I'll put it on with the Capitals specifically. What's one of your favorite, coaching memories or baseball memories as a coach?
With just the Capitals, I would say, there's a lot of memories, just being able to coach a different group of guys every summer, guys from, a bunch of different towns that come together. I think that's, and kind of, watch them kind of mesh with each other. A lot of our guys play against each other in the high school season. So it's awesome to kind of see them come together and then play together and go out there and compete together when they spend, the spring season competing against each other. But, our times down to Richmond are awesome. I know our kids, what they remember the most are those trips where they, they spend some time away from home and they go and compete in different areas of the country. So I would say winning the Richmond tournament a couple of years was a lot of fun. We did win the Diamond Nation World Series 4 years in a row, which was awesome. Nice little streak. I think it was 3 years, and we lost in the finals in the fourth year. And there's 40 teams at that tournament. So, very competitive, as is the Triple Crown, the Pathway Tournament down in Richmond. So winning those two tournaments was a lot of fun and something that I'll remember for a long time. But I think the one thing that gives me the most satisfaction, which is why all of our, why we as summer coaches do what we do, is to help in that recruiting process and see guys move on to the next level and, help prepare them for the college level. That's why I call our team a college prep team. The philosophy is to kind of develop guys and prepare guys for the next level, because for most of them, that will be the next level.
I know you talked about the skill development and playing the game the right way. What are some other things you guys do? Because you do such a good job up there with the Capitals, and I'm sure with your high school team as well. Like, what are some of the other things other than the skill development that you guys are doing to help these guys move on to the next level?
Yeah, obviously, networking with college coaches and gaining that trust level. I tell my players all the time, if I'm going to talk to a college coach, I'm going to be extremely, extremely honest with them, with the pros and cons that come along with every player, because that relationship is really important. That trust is really important. I want the college coach to know who he's getting. So that's a big piece, just building that network.
So I know you guys have been coming to Richmond, longer than I've even been here at Triple Crown, back whenever it was the Triple Crown U.S. Baseball Championships, and now it's moved over to Pathway Richmond. What's really drawing you guys to come to that tournament year in and year out? I know last year with COVID, unfortunately didn't get to see you guys down there, but what's really drawing you to come down to Richmond year after year, and how long has it been?
Yeah, so I think we first came, I want to say in 2010, maybe. I could be off, give or take a year. But it has been a goal every year to get back down there for several reasons. Number one, I would say the facilities, the local high school fields that are used are top notch. And then you have, RF&P Park, the town park, which is just unbelievable. And our kids love being there. Our families love watching a game there. I would say the organizational piece from, you guys and the people who ran it before you is really important, coming from the coaching perspective. It's nice that things are organized. The flexibility from tournament directors is awesome. The competition is, you get to play teams from East Coast, maybe even around the country that we don't always get to do up in the Northeast, depending on which tournament we're in. And then just the area in itself, the Richmond area, the short pump area where we stay now is really accommodating for our players, our families. And we look at the restaurants. I always tell the families, if you can't have a restaurant to eat at in short pump, then we got a problem. So a combination of things. I think how the tournament is formatted, the duration of it, obviously when you travel, and we've talked about this before, when we travel a decent amount, you want to make sure you're there for at least, several days. So I think the format, the organization, the facilities, the flexibility from the tournament directors and the area and the competition are all components of why we love coming down to Richmond.
I got you, man. Well, I'm fired up. I'm excited to see you guys back down there this year for 2021. Like I said, I missed seeing you last year. Seeing you and your dad out there coaching at RF&P and everything. And, it's been a joy having you guys, in my time since 2017, that I've been a part of it and everything. So I'm looking forward to see you guys there. And, if you ever need anything, give me a holler. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. Thanks so much for having me. And we're looking forward to get down to Richmond as well.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Joe.